Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to figure out whether or not Tom Cruise can stand toe-to-toe with the Man of Steel himself. This message will self-destruct in 5 seconds. What's up everybody, and welcome to another edition of AGR's Pop Culture Reviews. Well, it looks like Ethan Hunt and his team of highly trained IMF agents are back doing what they do best, saving the world. This is my official review of Mission Impossible Fallout. Let's take a closer look. Now, Mission Impossible Fallout is the 6th film in this highly lucrative and very successful franchise, with my personal favorites being Ghost Protocol and Rogue Nation. Now, for a little while, I was worried that this film was not going to live up to 2 of my favorites, but it did deliver, and this is a fantastic film from beginning to end. And one of the reasons that I really like this film is because it sets a different tone from many of the rest of the films. Not only that, but it's steeped in a little bit more reality, or at least as much reality as a Mission Impossible film can be. In other words, this film is a little bit less Ian Fleming and more Tom Clancy, which is a good thing. As I mentioned before, this film sets a tone very early, and it does so in such a brilliant way. Obviously, it's not going to shy away from the current political climate that we're in, and it addresses this perfectly. The cameo by Wolf Blitzer was awesome and was done with such style, guys. You're going to love it. But then again, I guess the burning question is, to some audiences, will that make this a fake movie because Wolf Blitzer made a cameo? I don't know. Moving on. The cinematography in this film is stunningly beautiful, and one of the reasons that this film works so well is that it is not relying on close-up shots all the time of the beautiful actors to sell this film. It allows you to take in everything, and it definitely benefits from watching this in IMAX or a much wider screen. Props to the cinematographer in this film for giving us those wide-angle perspectives and really allowing us to take in the exotic locations. But this technique was not only used on the cinematography of the locations, the action sequences, especially the fight choreography, is freaking awesome, guys. Most importantly is that they pull out so that you can see every punch, every kick, and you can really get a sense of technique. You can tell that these actors worked long hours in order to really master these techniques, and it definitely shows in the film. The other aspect that I found very impressive is that this film takes its time even in the action sequences. For example, what you're going to witness in the Halo jump, that is one continuous shot, and it is done so well, and because you're never taking your eyes off the action and you're watching this slowly play out, it really amps up the drama and definitely the tension. Now, of course, I'll be the first to admit that the main conflict in this film is by no means original, and in fact it's pretty cliched, but the execution was done very well and very unique, I might add. One other very unique aspect about this film, and something that really hadn't been explored in the other films, is that they finally addressed the issue of moral ambiguity. You have to remember that these agents are running around the world, causing a lot of collateral damage in many cases with the civilian population, and I'm glad that they addressed this issue and it becomes a conflict, a focal point in this film for the characters involved. Now, this is actually kind of funny, but is it just me, or does Tom Cruise in some of his films have a habit of pissing off a lot of intelligence agencies? You do see that reflected in the film, the conflicts and self-interest that these agencies have, even in the pursuit of justice. It was funny to see the pissing contest between the IMF, the MI6, and the CIA. Now, the only downside to this film is that it attempted to give you some twists and turns. Unfortunately, because of the trailer, it really spoiled that for you, and you saw this coming a mile away, so there's that, guys. Sorry, the trailer really screwed up this film for me. Now, this is an ensemble cast, and what a wonderful ensemble cast it was. Props to whoever did the casting in this film, because everybody was really good. The chemistry was all there, especially where there was supposed to be tension. They did that very effectively. Most importantly though, I'm glad to see that Alec Baldwin was in this film, and I think it represents a shift in where these films are actually going moving forward. I also have to mention that the characters go through a very kind of role reversal phase, where Vin Rames was typically the badass. He's actually more of a mentor in this film, and I like that change in character arc for him. Simon Pegg is usually the comic relief, and in this film, he freaking throws down. I also have to mention Rebecca Ferguson and Vanessa Kirby in this film. They are some alpha females, and thank God they broke down that stupid trope, because they are badasses too. I'm really pleased to see that the Mission Impossible franchise is rooting itself in a little more realism. Now, the technology used here was not ostentatious and not something that we couldn't relate to. Oftentimes, it boils down to simple drones and cell phones to get the job done, and that's a good thing. Ultimately, Mission Impossible Fallout is a great film. It's beautifully shot, wonderfully acted, expertly choreographed. Most importantly, there's a lot of great tension, and you have a good time with it, guys. I will say this though, Hollywood, if you expect to surprise people with twists and turns, You really need to stop putting everything in the trailer because that really hurt this film. Alright everybody, so that's my official review of Mission Impossible Fallout. As always, I thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next AGR's Pop Culture Reviews.